An underwhelming December jobs report this morning that my next guest says, quote, to investors, it was like being all dressed up with nowhere to go. Joining me now from Philadelphia is Dr. Joel Naroff, president of Naroff Economic Advisors. Sir, welcome to Bloomberg. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Why did the unemployment rate fall?
Well, I think what happened was we did get some more job gains, and coupled with the fact that it looks like a lot of the frustrated workers are beginning to drop out of the market. They've given up. We had a reduction in the labor force. The two taken together led to that very surprising and very large decline in the unemployment rate. But I don't think we should expect to see that happen very often in the future. And I wouldn't indeed be surprised if it moves back up a little bit over the next month or two.
Should we then, I guess for purposes of discussion, say that that ADP number that came out earlier this week was just a bit unrealistic?
Well, they had been underestimating for a long time. It looks like in December they made up for all the underestimations in 1 month. But yes, it was a little over enthusiastic, to say the least. But I think the key point is that we are beginning to see some improvement. We're not generating a whole lot of jobs because businesses have no great need to hire a lot of people. The economy is growing. It's growing moderately. That's triggering this sluggish to moderate growth that's likely to continue for 3-6 more months.
But you mentioned in your most recent note, you said, quoting here, the turtle is making its way to the finish line. So should we continue to expect, at least for the next year, maybe the next 2 years, that we are going to see growth, but it's going to be coming at a trickle?
Well, when I say that is what we all wanted to see, the hare in the recovery race, especially for jobs. But given the damage done to the economy, that was not likely to happen. And we're probably doing as well as we can. But the point I'm trying to make is that if we look back a year ago, we were losing jobs at a 90,000 per month rate. In the fourth quarter of this year, we gained about 130,000 jobs a month. If we go out another 6 to 9 months, we could be in the 200,000 jobs a month range, and that's not bad. It'll mean that the unemployment rate comes down, not very rapidly, but at least it's coming down.
But will that be enough, that 200,000 figure, will that be enough to kick this economy into high gear?
I don't think we're going to have a huge acceleration as a result of the job growth, but I think it'll be enough to change household perception on the condition of the labor market. And that really is key, because a lot of people are worried about their job and they're not spending because of that. We get to 200,000, we get 3, 4, 5 consecutive months of declines in the unemployment rate, and people are starting to say things have changed. I think that happens by the summer or fall.
And Dr. Naroff, I'm sure you're aware that the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Bernanke, he was testifying on the Hill today before the Senate Budget Committee, and he said that unemployment is likely to stay high for up to 4 or 5 more years. He said that if the pace of job creation, and that number that we found out today from December, about 103,000, he said if that pace is maintained, in his words, you won't see sustained declines in the unemployment rate.
He's absolutely right. 100, 130, which we averaged in the last few months, is not enough. We get to 200,000, we'll start seeing it. But we really need 250, 300,000 job growth to get any significant declines. If we get what we expect, we'll probably see close to a percentage point a year, but that only takes us 4 years out before we get close to full employment.
And Dr. Naroff, in our last minute, Chairman Bernanke also today calling on the White House and Congress to come up with a long-term plan to reduce the deficit. Is that possible in that toxic atmosphere that is Washington?
Well, Mr. Bernanke's talking as a really good economist and a concerned Fed chair, and he's absolutely right. You know, the politics are a situation where whether it gets done or not, it has to get done. That's really the key. You can't allow this to continue. How it gets done, before a crisis occurs is going to be the debate in Washington.
Dr. Joel Naroff, president of Naroff Economic Advisors, joining us live from Philadelphia. Dr. Naroff, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.